Hello children. Today we are going to learn another one interesting topic. Before entering into the topic, please think and reflect. What is our main food source? That means through which uh, living organisms or non-living organisms we are getting food. Mainly the food which we are getting from the plants and also animals, and some food sources which are not related to plant or animal, that is salt which we are getting from the mines and also from the oceans. Ocean water or sea water is changed into salt when we dry them, and also we are getting the rock salts from the mines. That means the main food sources are plants and animals. Okay children, what is the main food material which we are eating every day? That is the major food source, that is rice, isn't it? Which food grain is called as universal food grain? Universal food grain means it is eaten by the people almost throughout the world. So which food grain is eaten by most of the people around the world? That is paddy. We called it as rice. Try to estimate how much grain your family consumes in a month. Do you have any idea, children? How much grains your family consumes in a month? How much grains, how much rice your family is using? If a family consists of 4 members, obviously in an average they use 50 kgs in a month. If we estimate for a year, it will be 600 kgs per year. How much area? Can you estimate how much area of land would be required to grow the quantity of grain needed for your family in a year? That means how much land of area is used to grow 600 kgs of paddy or 600 kgs of rice. That is 0.14 square kilometers. Approximately I am saying. Okay. Do we producing adequate amount of food grains to our population? The food grain which are produced around India, that food is enough for our Indian people? No, we are not producing sufficiently food grains for the people of our country. If what happens if food is not produced in sufficient amounts, there will be, obviously it leads to food scarcity, isn't it children? Then why we are not able to produce the food according to the growth of the population? What are the major factors that determine the crop production? Let us see in this lesson. What are the major factors? How do we increase food production? In which way we can increase the food production rate? Let us see the answers for these questions in this lesson. So children, we are going to learn challenges in improving agricultural production. Our lesson is this. Through this lesson, the learner is going to learn that identify the relationship between different factors in food production, explains that how to increase crop production, analyzes the information in the table which is given about population growth and food production, differentiates between hybrid and wild varieties of grains. Wild varieties means local variety. Okay, applies knowledge in increasing crop production. That means the knowledge which they learn in this lesson, how to improve crop production, that knowledge will be applied by them in their daily life. That means they usually say to their elders or their parents, and gives examples for Kharif, Rabi and Zaid crops, and also short-term and long-term crops. These are the learning outcomes in this lesson. Okay, first I asked you how much food grains eaten by your family in a year, how much land is required. if according to the population growth, if food production is not increased, what happens? The food scarcity will be arises. I want to show you some data. This data shows from 1961 to 2011. For every decade, the population growth and food grain production is given here. Let us see. In the decade 1961 to 1971, the population growth is 2.4 and the food grain production is 2.83. What is the ratio of food production here? Food production by population growth 1.18. That means here the food production rate is more when compared to population growth in the decade of 1961 to 71. This is a very good, isn't it? In 1971 to 1981, the population growth is 2.23. Food production is 1.8. The ratio of food production and population growth is 0.80. That is, the population growth is high, the food grain production is less. In 1981 to 1991, population growth is 2.16 and food grain production is 3.13. So here some implementation is showing in the food production. So this is okay. In 1991 to 2001, food population growth is 1.95 and the food grain production is 1.1 only. A very less ratio in food production and population growth. This is very less. In 2001 to 2011, 1.65 is the population growth, 1.03 is the food grain production, and the ratio of food production and population growth is 0.2. This is also less. So this is the population growth and food grain production. What is the relation between these two? Growth of population and food grain production means, if according to the population growth, the food grain production is also increases simultaneously, there is no problem in any country. If the food production is less, the people of that country suffers with the scarcity of food, lack of food, they suffer with lack of food, they get so many diseases. Ultimately, the development of the country also declines, reduces. Okay children, let us I want to ask you some questions on this table, so keep in mind the ratios of each decade. Now I want to ask some questions. In which decade population growth is higher? In which decade population growth is higher? 2.4, that is 1961 to 1971. In which decade food grain production is higher? That is also the same, no, in 1981 to 1991. What major difference did you find in the table? What are the major differences you find here? According to the population growth, food grain production is not increases. That is one. And when compared to the first decades, now the population growth is reduced. Okay, the food grain production is also, there is a fluctuation in growth, rising falling is there in the food grain production also. Those are the differences majorly. Is food grain production increasing according to the population growth? Is it so? Is it happening? No, it is not happening. In which decade production of food grains did not satisfy the needs of population? What will happen if the production is not sufficient? What happens if the production is not sufficient? In which decade it happened? Actually, in 1991 to 2001, the rate of food grain is very less. So obviously the people suffered a lot for lack of food. Isn't so? Isn't it, children? So how to improve the crop production rate? Write your suggestions to improve food production. How to improve the rate of food production? Children, try to imagine some suggestions to improve the food production. Here some are some are the factors I told here. First one is hybrid variety seeds. That means hybrid variety seeds, if we sow them, the crop productivity will be increases. Following high yield management methods. High yield management methods means there is at the time of irrigation or fertilization, fertilizers. These are all different when we see the normal conventional normal mode and local management methods. Constant supervision over crops. Every day the farmer has to observe the crops characteristics or growth. Is there any diseased plants? They have to separate those diseased plants from the healthy plants. Crop protection. So we have to protect the crops from insects, pests, some other microorganisms. These are all essential to improve the food production. Okay, children. Then what are the factors that affects the crop production? What are the factors? Here some are the factors discussed here. First one is kind of seeds planted. This is very important. If we take the good quality seeds, if we sow them, the plant will be healthy, then the production will be high. For example, some seeds, if we sow some seeds, the plants will grow very taller without producing flowers and seeds. They grow very taller and taller. So that is not a good plant. So what kind of seeds we have to plant? The plants which are in good quality, and also the plant comes from that seeds also very able to bear a lot of flowers and fruits. So then only the crop production will be high. The properties of soil. Soil alkalinity or salinity, we have to keep in mind 5.5 to 7.5 pH should be there. Then only the soil able to produces good plants. Then only the productivity will be good. So we have to observe constantly the physical, chemical and biological nature of the soil. Availability, we will see the soil testing in the later on classes. Okay, availability of proper application of irrigation and fertilizers. This is very essential. How this is very essential, I will tell you, children. If we did not eat food or any liquids for 3-4 days, how our activities will be, how our body will be, we becomes very weak. So like that way, plant requires some water and minerals to perform the photosynthesis. Then only they produce food. They can be very active in preparing food. Okay, so water is very essential for plant in preparing food. So we have to apply adequate amount of water to the plants, and also the minerals also to produce leaves, flowers. They require some elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, like that. So we have to give those elements through the fertilizers. Okay, children. Next, weather condition is also very essential for the crop production. At the time of harvesting, if the weather is not weather condition is not good, that means if it rains, the harvesting is very hard. So the weather conditions are very essential in crop production. Controlling insects attacks, this is very important. We have to observe very carefully the crop. Whenever we observed any insects attacked on the plants, we have to remove, and we have to spray insecticides over the plants. And also controlling weeds, this is very essential. We have to plug the weeds from the crop plants. Otherwise the weeds compete with the crop plants for water, minerals and other essential factors to grow. So we have to remove the weeds immediately from the crop field. Then only the crop plants will grow very freely and healthy. Okay, these are the main factors that affects the crop production. First one is kind of seeds which are very good quality seeds. We can see how can we already know how to select a good quality seeds in the 8th class. Okay, children, try to recollect and try to write the procedure to how to select the good quality seeds. Then properties of soil, availability of proper application of irrigation and fertilizers, weather, controlling insect attacks, controlling weeds. These are the main factors that are affecting the crop production. Okay, children, how these factors affect the plants, I will explain with an example. For this, I am taking the crop. Here, experiment done with the corn. Corn, I think you all know the corn, maize corn, okay, sweet corn. Corn have shown the impact of some of these factors on crop production. Some results of these experiments are given in the following table. Here, this is the method, that is the factors which affects the crop. This is production per hectare. Hectare means, you know children, how many acres in a hectare. Hectare means almost 2.5 acres. That is 1 hectare is equal to 2.47 acres. Okay, and the production in kgs per hectare. Per hectare, grains. This is difference. Okay. First one is time of planting. Time of planting, that is weather. Here a month after onset of rains. After rains 1 month. Okay. The farmer sows seeds after a month. Immediately after onset of rains. Immediately, if the rains after, immediately they sow the seeds, means the production is difference like this. If they sow after a month, 3400 kgs per hectare they get. If they sow the seeds immediately after rains, they got 5830 kgs per hectare. That means how much difference is here? 2430 kgs per hectare they got the profit who sow the seeds after onset of rains. So this is very essential. We have to keep in mind when we have to sow the seeds in the field, then only we get the profit. Okay, then only the crop productivity will be high. The second one factor is density of planting. How many plants we are planting in 1 acre? In 1 hectare. 1 hectare means 2.5 acres or 2.47 acres. Plants per hectare. In 1 hectare, they are planting 39,600 plants they planted. So the production is 4,100 kgs per hectare they got. Some people planted 19,800 plants they planted. They got 5,130 kgs. They got the production. So who got the more production? Who planted less plants in 1 hectare. Then why? If we sow many plants, then only we can get more production. So why the people got very less when they planted more plants? Means if we planted less plants, and also the gap between one plant to other plant, if we maintain a particular gap between the plants, then only the plants will bear many branches. That branches produces many fruits, then we get production. If we plant the plants, the space in between two plants is very less, then the plant is not able to produce more branches. They can't able to produce more fruits or the grains. Okay, so we have to keep in mind the space between the two plants also very essential. The crowd should not be we should not be followed the crowd. Okay, and weeding, how many times we have to take out the weed plants from the crop field. Here some people take follow one time, they got 4040 kgs per hectare. Some people did twice, so that they got 5200 kgs per hectare. So who got more? Who take out the weed plants twice, they got more production. So the 1160 kgs more they got. Okay children, In the nutrients application, fertilizers, without phosphorus, the people who do not apply the phosphorus to the corn plants, they got 4,570 kgs per hectare. 56 kgs of phosphorus per hectare, 2.5 acres, they applied 56 kg of phosphorus. Then crop production is 4,660 kgs. 4,660 kgs they got. 90 kgs is difference here. Without nitrogen, they got 4,320 kgs per hectare. 78 kgs of nitrogen they applied to the 2.5 acre crop. They got 4,900 kgs of production. So the difference is 5,580 kgs if nitrogen is applied to the crops. The production is increased. That means what we have to do, we have to plant the what you had understood from this table. In which time we have to sow the seeds immediately after the rains. What we have to do, we have to maintain some particular space between plants. We have to take out the weeds twice. If they are more in the crop fields, we have to do one more time. Definitely we have to apply the phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium, and whatever the minerals required to the soil, we have to apply all those nutrients to the soil. If we follow all these conditions, then our crop production will be very high. Okay children, this is not the oral calculations, this is experimentally proved data. This is, so we have to follow these methods, then only we will get more crop production. Okay children, so these are the factors that influence the crop production. Okay children, and how to increase food production. Here some are we seen what are the factors that influence the production of food. Here increase how to increase the food production. What are the ways we can use to increase the food production. First one is increasing the area of cultivated land. How can we increase the cultivated land? So we are seeing a lot of wastelands over the roadside or beside the roadsides. So we have to change that wastelands into cultivated lands. Then we can increase the food production. Second one is increasing production in the existing land. So we can't able to increase the land. So what we have to do, we have to increase the food production by using the hybrid varieties, high yielding varieties. Then we can increase the food production. If we use local variety of seeds, we can produce only 40 bags in an acre per acre. If we use hybrid variety or good quality seeds, we can produce 50 bags per acre. That is increasing production in existing land. Third one is developing high yielding varieties. This is in the hands of the scientists who deals with the seeds. They have to develop high yielding varieties which are suitable to our soil conditions and also to our weather conditions. Okay, then only we can produce high amounts of grains. Fourth one is crop rotation. This is very important one. Every year we are going same kind of plant, means the soil is not able to produce, is not able to give the sufficient nutrients to the plants. We have to change the crops for every crop. In the Kharif season we planted the rice, and at the time in the Rabi season we have to plant the groundnut or some other fabaceae plant. Then only the nitrogen, the fabaceae plants fix the nitrogen in the soil, which is used by the paddy plants. Okay, this year we planted paddy and next year we have to go for the sugarcane. Then that will be very good for the crops to get nutrients from the soil. Cultivating mixed crops. This is also very useful. Mixed crop means in a land we have to grow different kinds of plants. For example, one line we have to grow the groundnuts, and another line we have to grow cabbage. Groundnut plants fixes the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil. That nitrogen can be used by these groundnut plants and also the cabbage plant. Both the plants grow simultaneously by using that nitrogen. A cabbage plant is not able to do like that, so but groundnut can do. And also cotton crop and red gram plants, that can also we can do like that, mixed crops. And neem orchard and groundnut plants, mixed crops, that is also useful. One crop fixes the atmospheric nitrogen in the soil, other plants uses that nitrogen, that obviously the food production will be high. Cultivating short term crops like rabi. Short term, in the rabi season, mostly the crops we go for 3 to 4 months, below 90 days or 90 days crops. That will be very helpful. Which of the above option do you think is more meaningful or more useful? Children, which one is more useful in increasing food production? So let us see which is most useful to increase food production. To get high yield, three types of methods are being used. Three types of methods we should use. Developing high yielding varieties. High yielding to produce more food grains. High yielding varieties helpful a lot. Mostly using high yield management methods. High yield management methods like irrigation methods. In irrigation methods, less water usage methods like drip irrigation, sprinklers, and the fertilizers. Different high yielding management methods we have to follow. Then crop protection management. Crop protection management also very important. When the crops get any disease, we have to follow natural way of curing. We have to follow bio pesticides, bio ways of killing the germs or insects. We have to follow. These are the three methods that helpful to farmer to increase the crop production. That is developing high yielding varieties. High yielding means high amounts or large amounts of food grains we are getting through these high yielding varieties. High yielding management methods, crop production management. Production management from which we have to protect. From which organisms we have to protect? Through microorganisms. From microorganisms, from insects, we have to protect our crops. Okay children, I want to tell you one thing, that is what is Kharif and what is Rabi, what is Zayat. There are three main categories of cultivations. First one is Kharif. Kharif means when we cultivate the crops, we start the crops at the time of June or July, immediately after the onset of rains, that is Kharif. Rabi means we start this cultivating crops in the month of November or December. We start in this month, that is a Rabi crop. What about Zayad? Zayad crop is a summer crop. Mainly we grow the crops at the time of summer, that is April, May. We are growing the crops, that is Zayad. Zayad is summer crop. Rabi is we start in the December, and Kharif we start in the month of July. Okay, these are the seasonal crop types. Based on the seasons, we divided the crops into three categories: Kharif, Rabi, and Zayad. In the Kharif season, we usually grow paddy, sugarcane. In the Rabi season, we usually grow paddy and also some other crops like green gram, red gram. Sorry, not red gram, horse gram, like that. And at the time of Zayad, we usually grow watermelon, muskmelon, and also vegetables. We grow leafy vegetables like that. Okay, that is the types of crops based on the seasons. Next, based on the duration of time taken for cultivation. So from sowing to harvesting, From seeds sowing to harvesting. Harvesting means separating the seeds from the plant and keeping those seeds in a bag for storage. That is duration of cultivation time. If we take 90 days to grow the plants, that is short term crops. If we take 180 days to grow the crop, that is long term crop. What are the examples for short term crops? Which plants grow in 90 days? Which plant grow takes 180 days? Have you any idea, children? See, first one is green gram. This is the green gram plant. It takes around 90 days time. This is the red gram seeds. It takes almost 180 days. So this is long term crop and this is short term crop. Okay, children? And I want to show one hybrid variety and local variety. This is the hybrid variety, high yielding variety and hybrid variety, jowar seeds. Jowar, I think you all know jowar, jonnalu. Okay, jowar seeds, these are hybrid seeds and these are local variety jowar seeds. Okay, children, this is about our introduction to challenges in improving agricultural production. Now let us see the summary up to yet what we have seen. How much food grains we are utilizing in a week and in a year, relationship between population growth and food production, factors affecting the food production, how to increase the food production, hybrid varieties, kharif and rabi, short term and long term crops. Now children, you have to answer these questions. Evaluation time. What are the methods would you suggest to increase food production? What are the factors that affect crop production? Give examples to short-term and long-term crops. Collect information about the crops grown in your village during Kharif, Rabi and Zaid seasons. What happens if food production rate is very low when compared to population growth? Collect sample of different grains of wild and hybrid varieties. Wild means local variety. Okay. What is our main food crop? Okay, children, try to write the answers for these questions and send the answers to your teacher. Okay, children, I will meet you again with another topic. Until then, bye everyone. Thank you very much.